You'll learn how the net can entertain you and take you to far-off locations and meet new people.
And at the end of the tape, I'll be back to tell you how to safeguard your computer so that you can reduce your concerns about the kinds of websites your children can visit. You never can be too careful.
And to help out if requested, though I doubt she'll be asked.
So let's get underway.
Yeah.
Though I doubt she'll be asked. Interesting. Cold open. Hey, you know the music. You know the faces by now. Welcome into another episode of the DNVR Show, live on Periscope, YouTube. Hanging out here, DNVR Nuggets. I'm your host, Brendan Vogt. I'm joined by my inspiring, incredible, unparalleled colleagues. I got Harrison Wind, who looks like he's moved yet again. Is that a new looking?
Well, I know I've been teasing the move. It turns out I'm just moving into the DNVR bar.
Great call.
That's good.
Yeah,
Great call.
I'm gonna set up some mattresses in the office. This is my new home. It's my new home.
In a much better looking mood today and ready to dip deep into a design bag this afternoon. We've got D-Line Co. You know him as Eric.
Was I in a bad mood the other day? I thought I was always perky and enjoyable.
We asked you if you were excited for this show, and you said, "Yeah, hey, good to be here."
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't want to oversell me, you know.
And possibly here, possibly not. That's up for the internet to decide. It's the Kingpin, Adam Maras. Adam, what's good?
Oh, wow. The crowd reserved their applause for me. This is, wow.
I feel like that's a cumulative applause for all of us.
Very, very humbling. No, it was
wonder
more
who's
for me.
wonder who's on the soundboard. Hey, we didn't really get a chance to talk about this yet, guys, but I figured we could just do 20 minutes off the top on the Dodgers getting that World Series title.
Oh, boy.
How
So
about
dope.
LA,
Inspired.
huh?
Very
So
inspired.
dope.
City of champions, huh?
A real underdog story, like the Lakers
nice, yeah.
a month before.
2020, I'm telling you, there's only 4 winners. It's Jeff Bezos, it's Elon Musk,
Yep.
it's the Lakers and the Dodgers. Like, that's it. It's
And
an
DNVR
overwhelming-
is another winner.
And
Another
DNVR.
winner.
It's an overwhelming year for juggernauts with all of the power. It really was a consolidation of power year.
You know what is funny? I remember when we were talking about the NBA restart, and I assumed the baseball guys were talking about
Okay.
this during the MLB restart. Oh, this is like a weird year where an underdog's gonna win, and like it's gonna be some like wacky stuff.
That's so
no,
true.
just
That's what we all worried about.
the 2 teams with the most talent won. And it like wasn't even a 7-game series. Neither one. Yeah, just basic stuff.
Turns out the asterisk just meant you still live in hell.
Yeah.
No, the asterisk
It is
meant
so true.
exactly what you expected.
It was
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
basic of a year as it could have been.
Hey,
It's going to be
the
so
end.
random. Up is down, down is up, guys. Anything in it? Nope, it's just going to be complete domination. And also, those teams will wield victimhood from positions of absolute authority.
Who's gonna win the Super Bowl? I guess the Seahawks, probably.
No. Let's not get it. I don't want to be depressed.
Yeah, let's not do this. We do have some fun,
Seahawks
exciting
over,
stuff.
What did I
over
join
Patriots
for?
doesn't excite you.
We do have some fun stuff planned for today's show. We got a bowl video that surfaced. We got some jersey leaks. We've got an interesting proposal from Ethan Strauss regarding the restart of the NBA season. And at this point, guys, I think we've got enough draft profiles up that we can start to have that conversation about who the 4 of us are.
Do you guys hold on? Can I interrupt? Do you catch this this reference here, youngins?
No.
No.
We're all.
Right,
I'm an Olden, and I do not get it. We're all just came in to say
Jeff,
good
it's
luck.
just going to
for
be
all
our
the-
little secret. It's going to be our little secret. I'm not even going to.
You guys can go off and do your own little show about.
We should, Jeff. Come on. I want. When am I going to get invited on the Gen X movie show? What the
Yeah, I
heck?
was going to say, that pod's already happened, I'm pretty sure. But hey, let's take a look at some of the fun stuff, some of the goodies. Super producer Kale, if we can get that bowl video queued up, I could always use a dose of bowl in my life.
Oh, I love Airplane, Jeff. I love Airplane. Did not catch the reference though.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, not nearly enough.
And here's a video of Bowl doing, this is how we all warm up, I think.
Yeah. It's a basic
Touch the
warm up
top
here.
of the square on the backboard.
Well, he didn't get it that last time. Look at this.
Oh, yeah.
So I've been in the
one.
presence of Felipe there many times, and he's a big guy. And
Yeah.
He is like me, but bigger. I mean, we're like the same height and body type, and he's like if I worked out a lot. Like he's ripped, but he's my
that's
height.
the one difference.
And like
he
size.
just works
And
out
yeah,
a little more.
Yeah.
A little bit more. A couple more hours per day for an entire life.
Okay, so look, there's not a whole lot to analyze here, guys. Bull's still tall, though.
I know.
anyone
What
was
are we to
worried.
pull from this? Right. Like, just that he's a tall
here's
gentleman.
my take. I know we're going to be talking about starting the season December 22nd or MLK Day. Start it now. Start tomorrow.
Oh.
I want to see this guy on the court now. Like, I'm so ready to watch Bull in action this season. I'm so ready.
Yeah, I gotta say, I saw this yesterday, and I was like, and people were like, "Oh, let's go, Bull!" And I was like, "Isn't this exactly what Bull looks like every time you?" I don't understand like why everyone. I guess just seeing the mere sight of Bull is enough to.
That's
get
all it
everybody's
is, Eric. That's
blood
exactly
pumping.
it.
But I mean, it's literally just a really tall guy jumping like a fair amount for him, and then.
So here's my theory on Bull, and it's funny that his name is Bull because it works this way. It is like. He is always simultaneously impressive and not impressive. Like that video, he dunks it barely, like super interestingly. He jumps up and hits the, but then also at times he like doesn't get high enough, and you're like, dude, what the heck, man? Like they make him jump again because he didn't get high enough.
It's like, dude, have you seen yourself? Yeah.
I know. So you watch this. This is why I think it's like funny because it's like whichever perspective you choose to look through, the Bull perspective or the Bull perspective, he is very impressive. Or there's something here. There's something to it. I'm trying to say. It's like spy versus spy or something. He's anyway. The video was so interesting because I'm like, oh, that's really impressive, but also not.
Yeah. To me, it's like any guy that's 7'2" and has enormous arms should be able to complete those exact tasks that we just watched. All the same, he is 7'2" and has enormous arms, which is impressive in and of itself. Yeah, I'm impressed.
This is my favorite comment, Ray, and I know Ray's not even joking, but it is hilarious because it's like muscle watch. Bull muscle watch is the funniest muscle watch.
Off-season season. I have $5 on TJ McBride tweeting about Bull being in the best shape of his life come meeting. Shout out TJ.
I'm just glad though. I honestly, some real takeaways though. Like he's in town. Not that this is like a huge surprise, especially rookies. They're in town, in and out of town a lot over the off season. But I put this out. It's all it takes is just seeing these little clips. I wish the Nuggets like social team did this more. And this was Felipe put this out on his own Instagram, and then it got aggregated, what have you. But anytime Bull's in, the Nuggets need a 10-second clip out on social. I mean, why not? Why not? That's instant clicks. That's instant excitement. Like I just watched that video, and which I said was half not impressive, and I'm still excited. So come on, man, give me more.
Well, it was also just Tuesday, right? That Brian was on the show telling us, some of the reasons Bull dropped, and there's injury concerns, but also it appears some teams around the league were not sold on his commitment. And so anytime you see a video where it's like, we're at this time of the year, where could Bull be right now? If you know he's in the gym, he's working out, that's a good sign.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, but we have some stuff to actually analyze. It is D-Line Co's time to shine.
Oh man, look at
this.
I
don't know how
Hold
many
on a second. I'm sorry, the comment section's on fire today. Bull and PJ had the same court. A bulldozer.
Oh god,
the
man.
bulldozer.
This could be the go-to set, the bulldozer pick and roll on the Nuggets second unit next year.
I can't wait for this.
That's
This is going to be
too
incredible.
That's too easy.
So good. God, that is amazing.
It's really good.
I think
All
we got
credit to
at
Evan
least
McKee.
5 guys, at least 5 jersey leaks today that I saw on Twitter, and at least one of those is confirmed now by the team itself. So, Eric, crack your knuckles, flex your muscles.
The only thing I
time.
love more than Muscle Watch season is Jersey League season.
It's the best. Especially because I found this Twitter account today that's just called Jersey Leak Guy.
Oh,
I don't
love
know
it.
if that's dependable, but that sounds like
Love it.
a good place to get my information. So let's look at, I think we got the Dallas Mavs. We saw an image leak today. Kale,
Right.
Can we pull that one up? And then we'll go to the expert for a breakdown.
All right,
Close
Dallas.
up here, so I can't
Yeah,
really break
this
down
is-
the whole jersey.
I know. We need to see all of the the nice thing about all of these special jerseys are the details. We're not getting many of the details. We're just seeing a silver and gold vision of Dallas, which I don't understand the reference at all. If I'm being
With a
honest,
connection.
I think just silver and gold are like cool colors.
Is that it? That's
I-
in that the city of Dallas values both silver and gold. I don't like this. I don't like the font at all. But I gotta think there's some kind of reference that I'm not getting. I don't really understand why the all of the fonts are different on this. The Dallas font is really, really spiky with serifs, and then the numbers have no serifs, and then the name itself is a compressed font that's I don't get any of it. I need to see more of this before I render my verdict, but I've already rendered it. Trash. Out.
Trash.
Well, we all remember the Mavs city jerseys that they just rolled out, right? That graffiti highlighter, like
Yeah.
They already had a bad one. Yeah.
This appears to be another tragic.
The Mavs
chapter.
do not have a good history of like elite jerseys.
They actually have everything the Mavs have ever done has been bad or ugly.
Yeah.
So I sorry, Mark Cuban. This is in tribute to their billionaire owner, Mark Cuban, who loves both gold and silver.
I mean, the
Wizards
Raptors did a silver and gold jersey last year, right?
Yeah. I got to see more. I got to understand more about this before. I mean,
So apparently, you can scroll down here, Kale, because apparently there was a leaked rendering. Now, obviously, this has changed, but it's still within the wheelhouse. Like the fonts have changed, what have you. But it definitely looks like it's a white, gold, and what color is that? Blue,
well, that's blue. I got to say that
that's more in line with their usual blue. It looks.
Yeah, what we're looking at here has
if you scroll back up though, because this looks
no
like a
connection.
Yeah, I think it was someone's interpretation of what their take on this.
Top one looks like something I drew with a stencil. To be quite honest.
Well, to be fair, this could very well be a fake. It's not confirmed yet, other than by Jersey Leak guy.
These things don't usually leak like this.
40 pinstripes for the 40 season. I gotta say.
Wait, what?
I don't know. I don't know. Let's go to the next one.
We have to make a vote.
Yeah.
We have to have a vote here,
fellas. Put your thumbs in the boxes.
I'm not trying to be a hater. But it is going to be weird if Luka, Porzingis, and Giannis make their debut in that ugly thing. It'd be very ugly.
All right, so there's a lot of takes, a lot of opinions already, strong opinions on this one. So, Caleb, let's pull up the New Orleans Pelicans City Edition look for the upcoming season.
I saw this
Controversy. I can't wait.
So it's,
oh my god!
Wow, that is a hockey jersey. That's a hockey jersey.
It's a tunic.
That is a hockey jersey.
What?
That looks like the old. I mean, that looks like what the Avalanche fans are currently clamoring for with an old Quebec Nordiques throwback. But the Fleur de Lis
hockey jersey. But
it would be.
Hockey jersey.
Yeah, this would be a hockey jersey. I don't. I mean, typography means something. That one. I don't really like that numeral at all. But maybe.
Yeah, that's a good
It's
point.
very delicate.
Really long and skinny.
It's very delicate. I mean, obviously this is going back to the French Quarter history of New Orleans.
Well, this is literally the New Orleans state flag. So if you,
is that what this is? Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's literally they just dropped it on.
I thought everybody was familiar.
God damn it, Adam! That's such an Adam thing to say right now.
So this is let's bring. Can we bring Kale? Do you have that? Do you have the actual flag, the New Orleans flag?
Man,
this is a terrible.
It's a little
jersey,
different.
guys.
It's a little
this
different.
Is god awful.
All right.
Well,
I want to hear Eric before I chime in. I want to hear Eric's full analysis before I.
Well, I want to. So if this is just like one of these like pandery jerseys, like they do this with Colorado all the time. They just throw the Colorado flag on everything, and it's very pandering towards things that people always feel.
But this is with less interpretation. I mean, they just stuck it on there, dude.
Well, it is a different color blue, though. It is a different
color blue, and the Fleur de Lis are not as yellow. They look like they were more of a cream color. They definitely picked the font for the numerals, which I don't particularly care for.
Comments coming in hot. My lord. We got
I don't know.
a jouster at a Renaissance fair.
That's actually what I was going for. Yeah.
To me, it's like this is like all of these jerseys are made specifically for the cities themselves to like sort of
pull it back up, Kale. Pull it back up. I want to see the jersey again.
So for that reason, I mean, I think it's not this is not the worst thing I've ever seen. It's like really not in line with other NBA jerseys, so which is why it's like so jarring.
Slav channeling his inner Adam here.
But this does look like a very looks like a very international jersey, I have to say also.
This looks like a cool T-shirt to me, not a jersey.
I bet these will pop off in the French Quarter.
I think it's absolutely fire.
I was going to say,
dope.
I really liked
You
it
like
until
it?
everyone told me I wasn't supposed to like it, but up until that moment, I really
man,
did.
I'm telling you, and here's the thing. Maybe it's not cool. Maybe it's not for everyone. I'm just like, people want to try that Mavs jersey. That's trash. That's like a ugly, doesn't make sense. The colors doesn't make sense. This one has a lot of strikes against it, like Eric is saying. Like the font really is weird, a little pandery, whatever. But I just think it looks cool, man. I just think it's like a cool looking jersey.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, I think this will really pop off in New Orleans itself. Like if people have pride for that flag and it means something to them, I think it'll be like, this is not necessarily for us, and it's just like this is like a basic color blocking is what that's called, jersey. But it,
What does
whatever.
that mean, color blocking? Because it brings in a lot of colors, so you can wear
It's
like
like
a lot
a block of
different
red,
shoes.
a block of, I mean, just like
Oh,
you're just making stacks of color essentially. But I mean, to me, there's like nothing like super offensive about it. It doesn't mean anything to me, so it doesn't really move the needle.
All right, it's not like the French to
We're-
place
we're-
themselves
yeah.
above something, but that's interesting. Just kidding. Shout out
I
Cyberflow.
love
All right, let's keep it moving because we got more.
Wait.
Oh, what's up?
I'm giving it.
Oh, that's right.
Thumbs
yeah.
up or thumbs down? I'm going thumbs down. I'm sorry. I can't.
I'm going
I can't
neutral.
get
Yeah,
around
I'm
to
going
it.
2 thumbs up too. I think it's cool.
Oh, God.
I think it's really cool.
Not cool.
I'm probably wrong though for what it's worth.
I am
can't
also
dress
probably
myself.
wrong.
Yeah,
I also
so
think
don't
I'm
know.
cool. So
Right, exactly. So,
That you are wrong.
here's a team who's done some cool stuff with branding in years past with the core and the jerseys. Brooklyn Nets redoing their City Edition look again.
Right.
I'll go to Eric first, but I don't love the new look.
Is it
So
the
do
math
you-
equation?
So yeah, so this is
parentheses, bracket.
the Jean-Michel Basquiat. Are you guys familiar with this artist, Jean-Michel
I
Basquiat?
believe that's an old wooden ship. used in the Civil
Eric, we've
War.
talked about this. It's my favorite artist.
Yeah, that crown.
Which
You've
is-
seen that
and
crown
the-
before.
And the Basquiat?
You've seen that crown before. The one that they
Of
have.
course,
before.
the 3-pointed crown.
But I mean,
All
Brendan
young
and
kings get
Harrison.
their heads chopped off.
No.
I've seen the crown. Yeah, I've seen the crown. Yep.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So I was saying on this in the Slack the other day, like I think it's really, really smart for Brooklyn to really pull on their cultural influence, because I mean that is like an absolute cultural hub of this country. We saw the Biggie jerseys, we saw lettering by
great. The
Espo,
court. Yeah,
right,
the
which
gray
is like
court with the-
yeah. So like this is supposed to be weird. This is supposed to be like offsetter. This is supposed to. I mean everything, and we're not seeing the sides here, which are probably the most.
I think, Eric, I
impactful
saw
part.
one image where they have that same sort of decal framing with the.
Well,
the
yeah.
big-
What it is, it's like super expressive brushstrokes that line both sides. Sort of like we got that Coogee sweater vibe on the Biggie
Yeah.
jerseys.
which is great.
So, I mean, to me, this is like super interesting because it's pulling on. I mean, I definitely get the reference. I definitely understand what it's saying. I know it's going to throw some people off, but I think in the end, like this is like super hip hop, super street art, super Brooklyn in a lot of ways, and feels authentic. If not a little pandery, but there's something interesting about this that I appreciate, and especially like when you really do need to see the sides of this to get the full picture. So, very, very, like very new approach to a jersey design, but for a one-off like that, you just want to kind of see what walking around the streets. I think it's pretty cool.
I think that's one of the ideas to these city jerseys in general is like they can break the rules, right? Like if it was your
Yeah.
main jersey, you'd be like, okay, man, I don't know, but you get to have the one jersey that's like a counterpunch, and so it works in that way. I mean, I've said this before. I really like Basquiat. Not that I'm by any means like an art appreciator, but just like he's like the one guy that I do, and I kind of dig this. Like I dig the look. I dig sort of just the general feel of it. The only knock against it, and it's a huge knock, it does look a lot like, for something about it, just looks like the Friends logo.
Yeah,
from
a little
the
bit.
TV show.
A
And
little
that's
bit,
like,
yeah.
and that also you associate a little bit with New York. So it's like, and that's a major knock against it. But I still think it's I still dig
I don't
it.
agree with that at all. I don't agree with that even a little bit.
Well, you just don't know art like I do.
Yeah, I guess you just don't have an eye for this stuff. All right, fellas, let's put our thumbs in the boxes.
I'm gonna go about right
Eric talked-
here.
I'm going 2 thumbs up. I
Eric
love
talked
this
me into
jersey.
There, Ty.
Yeah. This is like very. I mean, this is like a very cool reference. Like this is like.
Yeah.
There's something like really interesting about that. Unlike the Dallas one, which I can't like. I don't even know what the reference is or what.
No,
they're trying to do.
I love the Nets dipping into the culture of Brooklyn, because like the Nets are kind of a soulless franchise like the Clippers. It's just like the team, the team changes in and out every single year. They play in like a very basic arena that has no identity. So like they've got to pull on something. And Brooklyn has a ton of culture. You know, LA like is a little different, but I love
LA has
Brooklyn.
no culture.
I love Brooklyn pulling on their culture.
That's
I think it's a 2 thumbs up.
Yeah. I expect you'll see a lot more of that. I mean, that is an artistic, an absolute epicenter, Brooklyn. So I'm sure you'll see more and more of that.
Alrighty, well, let's keep it moving. This is the one I really don't know if it's real or not. Again, I don't know who would put the work into printing these and designing them if they're fake, but Phoenix Suns leak City Edition. Kale, let's pull that up if you got it. Look at that. Kid's on top of it today. This looks like an Ultimate Frisbee jersey. I'm just going to say it right now.
This looks like a music festival jersey is what this is. Yeah.
It's like there was a period, I played Frisbee my whole life. And it's grown a lot, but there was a period where we just started like supplementing jerseys. And everyone thought it was cool on principle because it was, but the design still has to be cool and look good. And I think that this just reminds me of early Ultimate Frisbee.
Yeah. The Suns are like one of the teams that like have played most heavily off of new printing technologies when they came out in the 90s with that, like you're saying, that dye sublimation where you're able to print whatever you want. Like the New Orleans jerseys we looked at are all knit, right? Like you have a block of red fabric, block of yellow fabric, block of blue fabric. Like you could not create this with actual fabric. This has to essentially be printed like a inkjet printer on fabric. So this is like, I mean, I don't know why it's so blocky. I mean, I cannot tell you how much I hate that font, that The Valley font. But it's a lot. I hate it quite a bit. The color scheme is like pretty nice. It's like you get a lot of the desert in there. You obviously get a lot of Phoenix Suns history. Obviously they're trying to make it look like, I mean, this looks like a sunrise in the desert.
Good eye there, Eric. I noticed that as well.
But the block, I don't really get the block. I mean, they're in a lot of ways, it almost looks like it's pulling off of the. It's like not that far off from like this, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I really don't like that font at all.
Yeah.
Font's pretty lame.
I agree. I love the colors. I love kind of the style there, but the font is just bleh.
So, I'm going to drop you guys want to go real old school reference? You probably don't, but I'm going to anyway. I'm going to go real old school with you here and bring up a back in the day. Do you guys remember Gorilla.bass? This is like the original video game.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember this? This is like the original, like the first computers had one game and it was this. Doesn't it kind of look like what Kale was showing? I mean, where is it at, Kale? Where'd it go?
Just blocky.
Yeah, it's just like blocky, and it looks
this actually reminds me of another early video game, Blockman, on the TI-84 calculator.
It's got very much a little 8-bit feel to it. Yeah, like, there's one gorilla here, here, and you hurl monkeys at each other, and you like try to hit them. It looks exactly what it looks like.
Yeah. I mean, so in all of these, like, I appreciate this because this is stepping out and trying to do something new. Like, this is a new look. I mean, we've seen a little bit of this with Utah last year. And then obviously our beloved Nuggets use a color blocking sort of weird just stacking of squares. I mean, I can't get over that font. That is terrible.
Yeah, you guys, I played a lot of hours of Gorilla Bass.
Good game.
I played a lot of hours of Block Dude in math class for sure.
It's Snake. You guys remember Snake? He had a little.
Of course, who could forget Snake?
Yeah. Who could forget Snake? I mean,
those jerseys also kind of look like the Jazz just did those sunset jerseys.
Yeah,
and those kind of look like in the city of Utah, like a youth team, like the Baby Jazz or whatever.
Yeah.
All right,
Junior Jazz.
We got we have a confirmed leak.
Yeah.
Portland Trailblazers got by the interwebs, as most people do, so they just went ahead and confirmed it about an hour ago.
Wait, you guys did not give a thumbs up and thumbs down.
Oh,
that's correct.
Thank you.
Kale's on point today.
Wait, I mean, come on, this is an easy one. This is an ugly jersey.
Yeah.
This is.
I'm gonna go thumbs up. I'm gonna go thumbs up.
This is such a Phoenix Suns jersey.
Just for the sake of variety, or do you like actually?
This one can be a cult hero. I think
this jersey will be huge with 13 to 30 crowd, guarantee you. I know you guys are a little outside of that, so I will be soon, but not yet.
All right, let's pull up this last one here. It's Portland Trailblazers, guys, who I don't think have ever released a bad jersey until today.
Oh, wow.
And I also think it's interesting that they're going with Oregon.
I like that. I like
because
Oregon.
it's the city edition, and they're going to go with.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
But,
so do you know what this font? I saw this last night. Do you know what this font is in reference to? This is that famous sign that's in downtown Portland.
Oh, that's right.
So I was looking at I was like, why is the G, like, I don't know if we can get any closer. Probably
I have this vivid memory of walking across a bridge in downtown Portland, looking at that sign during the second round of the playoffs last year.
So
just through the haze of my concussion, I could just make out
yeah.
I might have been a little drunk at that time.
So because I was just especially confused to begin with, because the G, what's called the descender in the G is cut off. And I was like, why is that way? It just stops. It doesn't connect. And so I did a quick little Google search, and then I found that. I immediately went and looked at that sign, and that's exactly how it is on the sign. It must be, they did it for, I don't know, some sort of technical reasons. The lighting has to be handled in such a way. I don't know. But what I don't understand is the colors on the side. Did they give some sort of explanation as to what that's in reference to?
I didn't do enough research, Eric, so I can't answer that question for you.
Well, when it was just up, we had the first screen we had some sort of explanation with because I don't know what it's talking about. Like I don't know what the deal is. The two don't seem to mesh to me.
Right.
But I mean, I get the reference. I hadn't, when I saw it last night, I didn't see that side piece. So yeah, I'm not really in favor of most side pieces. All
right, well, let's give it a quick vote before we hit that break. I'm out.
Yeah. Also, it's Portland, so F them.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's go to the Peloton Prince for our first ad break of the day.
Yeah, well, I am here in the DNVR bar, just looking at all these taps up on this beautiful bar downstairs. We got a lot of Breck Brew in the house. Make sure to check out that Broncos Country IPA, the latest and greatest from Breck Brew. Also, make sure to check out all their other options too. Can't go wrong with any Breck Brew selection, but that Broncos IPA, perfect for a Sunday watching football. You can't miss it. It's got that blue and orange can. A little heavy for some of the people on this podcast, but real beer drinkers appreciate it. So check out that from Breck Brew. And also, guys, the college football season is in full swing. I think we got CSU playing this weekend. Not sure if a lot of people will tune into that, but we've got the Buffs and UCLA playing not this weekend, but next weekend. So head on over to DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, with so many storylines across both professional and collegiate sports. This is the time to check out all that DraftKings Sportsbook has to offer. To celebrate the showdown in Happy Valley, I believe that's where Penn State plays, DraftKings Sportsbook is giving all new users the chance to turn $1 into $100 when placing a bet on either Ohio State or Penn State. So this crazy offer from DraftKings Sportsbook is back. Place $1 on Ohio State and Penn State. If your team wins, you'll win $100. Additionally, DraftKings Sportsbook is giving all new users the chance to receive a sign-up bonus up to $1,000. On top of that, they have great odds boosts every Sunday. You guys know the deal. So make sure to download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code DNVR when you sign up to get this can't-miss offer. Pick either Penn State or Ohio State, bet $1 on them, and cash $100 if they win. That's $1 to win $100 when you use promo code DNVR for a limited time. Must be 21 or older, Colorado only. Bonus comprised of a first deposit bonus and a first bet match, each up to $500. Deposit bonus requires a 25x playthrough. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700.
So yeah, Cale during that read, he brought up the explanation, there's just too many concepts going on with that Oregon jersey. There's like too many things happening. I thought maybe the two were related, but they're not. They're like there's just too much. What do you think?
Yeah,
go ahead,
they should have like either ran with the Oregon sign
it should have just
or
been
the
that.
mountain line
Too many
thing,
things.
and they were like, let's get all these ideas into one jersey and just make it look like a visual mess.
Too many things.
Well, we're out on
Nuggets, I think the Nuggets jersey, I think it'll probably be a skyline again. Would be my guess with just a different color. But maybe
I've been predicting a blue, skyline blue skyline for 2 years now.
I'm down with it. You're saying like the same skyline we've had, but just now.
Like I predict we'll see
White,
the
black,
same
blue.
skyline we have, but we'll have like the Dikembe Mutombo royal blue.
I'm down.
version
I'm
of
dig it. I mean, I'm with it. Plus, if the Nuggets have 2 royal blue jerseys, I'd be cool with that too because I like that color a lot.
Plus, we already made that Die Hard shirt. So
Well, that's why I made that.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
Like the day it came out, I'm like, I'm gonna get way ahead of this.
Is that what that was?
Yes.
Rayvon says, "Nice read, Harrison." So good job.
Good job.
Thanks.
Welcome
Maybe
back.
somebody appreciates it.
The NBA's got a
If
bit
only
of a
the sponsors
dilemma
did.
here, fellas. We've talked about it a bit this week on the show. They got to get this regular season started, presumably, if they're trying to contain the damage here. But players don't want to go right away. You know, LeBron James has already been named as one player who would be hesitant to start the season around December 22nd. Ethan Strauss of The Athletic published an interesting proposal today. You know, he points out that a lot of these teams that didn't go to the bubble haven't played basketball in a really long time. You know, obviously he covers the Warriors, and this is like a team that has opening night sort of caliber draw, but they haven't played in forever too. So what if there was a slate of opening day games with those teams, and these teams that made it further in the playoffs don't start until later in the season? We sort of stagger the start of the season, and then you sort of slow down the schedule of those early teams over time so that these things kind of match up. A lot going on there, and as he points out, there's a lot of specifics they would need to nail down. But there's a dynamic here that the NBA kind of already does with the way they start the season. And so, Adam, what do you think about fleshing this out on a bigger scale?
I think the NBA knows that this coming season is all about bad compromises because there's no good solutions. And so when I look at this one, my initial thought is like, man, this is like not a great idea, but it might be the best idea, even though it's not great. And when you say bring up, so the idea would be these bad teams or these non-playoff teams from last year, they start early, they get like a 2-week head start.
You can
on
call
the
them
season.
bad. It's okay.
Yeah, they're bad. And they get a 2-week head start on the season. But here's when you really break it down, this is the line in his article that got me. We could have a Christmas Day roster like this. Warriors, Nets. Like, okay, Nets were in the playoffs, but, you know, it's a new Nets team. They're well-rested. Like, that's it. Warriors, Nets, that's a great game. Pelicans, Grizzlies. Ooh, I like that one. Some up-and-coming stars. They're really good. Suns, Hawks. All right, I'm a diehard. I like the NBA. I'll watch Trey. I'll watch Booker. Like, okay, I can feel it. Knicks, Bulls. Like, what? Wait, hold on. The Knicks and the Bulls? I have to watch that on Christmas? Hornets, Cavs. Wait, what? Good God. So when you actually lay out the schedule, you're like, okay, one great game, one good game, one game I can stomach because I'm a diehard, and 2 games that not even I on Christmas, if I had nothing else to do and was quarantined in my house by myself, would want to watch.
Yeah, I've got news for you. No casual fan is watching more than like 2 or 3 of those games. Like
right.
I could see them tuning in for Nets Warriors.
Yeah, for sure.
That's about it. And look, like the NBA or Christmas Day is one of the NBA's biggest money makers. That's the whole reason the league, or one of the big reasons the league wants to come back on Christmas rather than MLK Day in the first place to recoup that Christmas Day money. So yeah, I could see that being an issue. I like what Evan said here in the comments here. What if we had like a double elimination tournament or something for the non-Disney bubble teams for like the first month, and we offset the schedule that way? I think that could be interesting. I'm intrigued by this idea.
What's the point of the schedule though? Like,
Wait,
what
to
do you
eliminate
get out
them
of
from
that?
the regular season?
No. No.
To kick them out of
Sorry,
the
Atlanta
NBA.
Hawks, but you're gonna have to sit this one out too.
Yeah.
Like an elimination tournament where I don't know, the winner gets something. Like what that something is, I don't know.
Their own
And then the
swingman
season
jersey.
starts
piece of the equation.
January 22nd.
A role in Adam Sandler's next film.
Yeah, ooh. Wancho's just draining threes the entire tournament.
Man, are any of you also annoyed by any time they talk about any big decision with the NBA, we have to reference what LeBron James thinks? I don't care what LeBron James thinks.
Yeah,
Like,
well, because it is the only opinion that matters. We're like, the Players Association is against. Oh wait, I'm hearing LeBron. This is. I was talking about this with Matt Moore last night. One of the things that has to happen here, and one of the reasons this compromise, this staggered schedule, is like even a conversation, is because when we hear Michelle Roberts say that she's hearing overwhelming from the players that they do not want to start on December 22nd. I used to sit here and I go, Trae Young says that? Like, oh, really? Like, all these guys that haven't played basketball. Steph Curry, he says that. He's really too soon. Well, he's been offered a year and a half. Right. So, but no, what it really means is LeBron and all of the people who are influenced by LeBron, which is an enormous amount of people in the NBA, those are the people that are saying that because they don't want it.
Yeah.
I'm sure Steph Curry would play tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm sure every team that wasn't in the bubble would obviously play tomorrow. I'm sure even the teams that were in the bubble but didn't make it to the second round of the playoffs would play tomorrow. I think it's only a very select few amount of teams that are like really scared off by the Christmas start. And those being so true, the most important teams and the players who have the most pull in the league.
He did just win a title because he single-handedly stopped like the most important and momentous strike in professional sports history. So he does have that influence. He can sort of make these decisions.
What do you think about the fairness of this, though? Because one thing to think about is the idea would be you start 2 weeks early for these bad teams, but you play the same amount of games, so they would, spread out their schedule over 2 extra weeks, which means they'd have fewer back-to-backs, less, quick turnover on travel and these different things. And I look at it and I go, okay, if you're Denver, you don't get that, so you have to go to the condensed version. I think Denver has a good shot at the 1 seed, but do they if the Warriors get that great advantage where they're playing 5 fewer back-to-backs or 6 or 7 fewer back-to-backs? Maybe it doesn't matter to that many teams, but I would look at Brooklyn and Golden State and say, okay, now I'm buying stock because that's a real advantage for a team that was already good.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's a potential issue. I mean, maybe the compromise here, and that's how these things usually get hammered out, some sort of compromise. Maybe it's that, we'll start the season on Christmas, but there's an expectation that, like, LeBron James isn't going to be seen, like, for the next month. LeBron James is going to be holed up in his Brentwood mansion just for the next month.
Yeah, I mean, why don't they just have, like, games that are what is that word? It starts with an E. Not exposition games of
exhibition
game. Why don't they just have some interesting exhibition games that take place on Christmas where you could just pit guys together that don't necessarily mean anything, but you could just make interesting NBA basketball that doesn't necessarily have any bearing on the final.
So here's one thing that was in Ethan's article that I think is actually pertinent. And Ethan's, I think, usually plugged in with this. This was like one of the wheelhouses I think he's really, really good at. The NBA has owned Christmas. It's been an important date to them. They own the sports world for a very, very important time. No, it's not June, not the finals, not the playoffs. You give that up even once in this year, especially if you just give it to the NFL, which, by the way, the NFL has a fluid schedule right now. If the NBA is like, okay, January 22nd, NFL's moving right into Christmas, and I don't know that they would give it back up. I think there might be a scenario in which the NFL says, wow, look at our ratings on Christmas Day. This is our day now. Get out of here, NFL.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
That's dangerous.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, why don't you present some product that people want to watch? I mean, do you really care about what the effect of these games is on the ultimate outcome of the league when it's like, some of the first games that happen in the season anyway? Like, why not just actually have them not count, but just be entertaining?
You do want these games. You also, part of the issue is they actually do want to start the clock, though, on the regular season. Like, they want to get these games out of the way so they can finish in time. So that is why I think Ethan's thing is interesting. But there's also, would there not be, like, competitive balance issues here, too? Like, how different are these schedules for different teams? You know what I mean? I could see it going one of two ways. It's either an enormous advantage for the team that gets a really long rest to start the season, or conversely, those teams that start earlier don't have to play back-to-backs a bunch of times down the stretch. It could go either way. So, like, this is a really difficult thing, I think, to execute.
So maybe here's an interesting wrinkle we can add to it. The NBA maybe can have teams vote on whether they want to start on December 22nd or start on December 20 or January 20th, knowing that you're going to play the same amount of games. So do you want the early start spread out schedule, or do you want the late start condensed schedule? That might be a fun compromise. And then you get the teams that have to decide as an organization whether they opt in or out of that. I think it could be cool.
What happens if the Lakers are the only team that pick MLK Day?
So be it. And then their schedule is just a murderer's row for 36-year-old LeBron. I mean, maybe that's this is what I'm talking about, though, guys. Like, there is no great option here, and I think that's the thing is everybody's kind of like, well, that's not fair. It's not fair, guys. It's just like the bubble wasn't fair. This next season, I think, might in many ways be even less fair. And so you're going to have to just come up with it and bite the bullet. The NBA has talked a lot about, and they were successful with this in the bubble of trying some different things out. I think that this might be a season the NBA should get even more creative and just say, like, hey, this isn't going to be a straight 72. Everybody plays this. Maybe there is something of a mid-season tournament or end-season pre-playoff tournament, and there's just different things this year, and just lean into the whole idea of, hey, this is a weird year. But at the end, we're going to get to this is what happened in the bubble. Once you got to the playoffs, it felt normal. All the seeding round stuff, all of that other stuff, like, you kind of forgot about it, and you're like, okay, the best teams are now playing against each other on a level playing field. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I think what you said though makes sense. Like, just let the players vote. Like, what do you guys want to do? Like, we can come up with any number of scenarios. We'll present them to you. What sounds most fair to you, or what would you most like to be, to take part in, and not just ask LeBron James.
And I pushed back on a lot of the ratings concerns on this podcast, but if you are concerned about those ratings to record low, you definitely can't just have the game plan be, well, LeBron won't play, the stars won't play. That's not going to help. So they're going to have to get creative. Yeah.
They're not wrong about it either. I mean, look, whatever you think of the ratings, if LeBron says, like, this doesn't matter to me, then I think a lot of people are going to be like, well, why does it matter to me?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Should we take a break? Another one?
Let's take a break, guys, and then we'll finish with some draft thoughts. How does that sound?
Draft thoughts.
Sounds good to me. I love the draft. Make sure to download WGT from DNVRGolf.com. We play in tournaments pretty much every weekend in the DNVR universe. You guys can get in on those tournaments. Some of them we offer pretty cool cash prizes. You can also win some DNVR swag for placing well in them. You got to download WGT, World Golf Tour, and then search for the DNVR 3 Country Club. That way you'll automatically be entered into all the tournaments that we do, close to the pin challenges, front nine, back nines, best of the par fours, best of the par fives. Pretty fun stuff. So make sure to download WGT from DNVRGolf.com. Search for the DNVR 3 Country Club. Also, guys, you can subscribe and save 20% with a Strava Craft Coffee subscription. If you've been listening to this podcast, you probably have taken advantage of that first-time Strava Craft customer 20% off code. But now you can get 20% off any product you are subscribing to with the code DNVR20 and get your coffee delivered every 2, 3, 4, 6, or 8 weeks. And like I said, 20% off any product you are subscribing to with that code DNVR20. Of course, Strava Craft coffee packed with CBD. And like I said, you can get your coffee every 2, 3, 4, 6, or 8 weeks, and 20% off any product you're subscribing to with the code DNVR20.
And we're back, ready to wrap the show up with some draft thoughts. Guys, I had a profile go up today, prospect profile on Tyrese Maxey. Kevin O'Connor of The Ringer has him mocked to Denver at 22. He also has Maxey at, I think it's 13 or 14 on his big board, so that would be a steal in his eyes. Some redundancy here, like this is another guard, and depending on what they did, like if they don't make any trades, and they've got a lot of them, they've got 5 already, but Maxey is, despite his smaller size, a stud point of attack defender, reliable off ball. He can score in bursts, was a scoring threat in high school and college, although at the NBA, I'm not quite sure. His handle's not super tight. It's not an outside shooter yet. Mechanics are promising, but I look at him as maybe an alternative to some of those Torrey Craig, PJ Dozier minutes, right? Where maybe Malone wants to turn to a defender, but he doesn't have to sacrifice offense this time. It's an optimistic projection. I don't know, Wind, if you have any thoughts on Tyrese Maxey and O'Connor's placement of him in Denver.
Yeah, Maxey's interesting because the Nuggets definitely don't need like a 6'2" guard per se, but he kind of does offer something in terms of just his quickness, kind of that ability to get into the paint.
He's a good finisher, yep.
The Nuggets, and I think every team could always use another one of. And I mean, he does seem like a guy that's being mocked usually ahead of 22. So if he fell with 22, that just might be a case of Denver taking the best player available.
Right. Yeah.
And seems like he can defend right now in the NBA. And Tyrese Maxey, I mean, he would kind of go along the lines of my number one draft strategy, which is when in doubt, pick a Kentucky player. So I would support the pick in that light.
Not just a Kentucky player, but a Kentucky guard, right? This is always the thing with Kentucky is they always have all these great guards, and there's always a Booker or a hero, or even, I mean, Murray was like the guy, but he was a little bit under the radar. So there is something to that that maybe works, but there are a lot of guards that we've gone over, and I don't know, some physical profile. He's just short, like the undersized guard thing to me. Like they have to fit a very specific profile for me that I don't think he does, but. I don't know. He probably will end up being really talented, though. That's the thing.
He's an absolute menace defender, but you're right, Adam, that he'd probably be limited to 1-2 positions, and even some shooting guards would be tough, right?
Yeah. Jimmy
but I do think, too, though, like, you know, maybe just another option for, like, Jordan Clarkson's killing us. Is there someone that's going to stick with him? Or he'd be too small, probably, but, you know, he's a great defender, plays within his role, and I'm probably a little lower on his scoring than I saw in other sort of scouting reports, but the dude can score in bursts. So I think the idea, Wynn nailed it. He's a really talented player, and if he's still there at 22, you probably just scoop him up.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any favorites right now? I mean, I know we're still doing our homework, still a ways out, but I'm curious what you guys are leaning here.
Eric, I'm curious, Eric's, because he's maybe been the less connected to this.
Yeah, I have most certainly.
Show.
Yeah, people really have been pumping up Poku. He's one of the players I did do a little bit of scouting on, and I was not that impressed with him, if I'm being honest.
Get off the show.
He just looked. I just saw like. I don't know. I mean, he's young, so it's difficult to say like what he turns into. I mean, you know. It feels like a big theme of the way that we're evaluating a lot of these players is their physical tools, like whether or not they're big enough, tall enough.
Yeah. Oh, totally, man. It's because it's the loudest and most obvious to us.
Yeah. So
remember how much everybody wanted Admiral Schofield because you looked at the guy and he's terrible. He's
he
also had a great interview. Great interview.
Oh, phenomenal. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like a mini Paul Millsap.
But yeah, I mean, we kind of, you know, we have entered into the world of the long boy, which makes me feel like, you know, maybe we have enough long boys. We don't need to have everyone be tall, but the Lakers just won a championship with everyone being tall, so maybe that's the way to go. And really, we are now looking at a world where we have to literally just look at the Lakers as the team to get over. Yeah, so, but then again, I really don't. I don't see a world in which any of these rookies have any impact on the Denver Nuggets in the next year or even the next 2 years. So. My mind, like, I just want the absolute best player that's on the board. Like, if it is this Maxey guy, he looked good to me. Bane looked good to me. His shot is very unconventional, but he's just such a physical specimen from a wide, not tall standpoint. Right. So I'm interested to see. I really don't have a favorite at this point. They all sort of I see pluses and minuses, which is the draft. Obviously, when you're looking at especially at that 22 place or 22 mark, and the draft specialists we've been talking to are really not interested in this draft for the most part. Like I think that's why we're seeing so much variation. It's just because there's not any of those standout players, is what we've been saying, and to me that's clear. So I let's go Poku. F it. Let's get another. Whatever.
Let's go Poku. Yeah. That's the line.
It's funny, like out of all the guys we've profiled, I can't say I'm in love with any of them. Yeah. Like, to be quite honest, they all have their flaws. They all have some things that are intriguing about them, but it's kind of symbolic of this draft. I'm just like not head over heels for any of the guys that we've looked at in depthly.
Yeah. That's how I feel as well. But I'm going to echo Eric's sentiment here in that, like, and this is a total, like, mistake. This is like a breakup in your thinking. But Poku to me would be so much more interesting than everyone else.
Totally.
Because it's just like, all right, it's like Bol. Like, oh my God, Bol could be 7'2" Kevin Durant. Like, he could be anything, and that's fun, and he's weird, and he's different, and it would give Denver this very cool, weird vibe. Like, part of this, we always talk about a team, you want them to be champions, first and foremost, but second of all, you want them to have something that, like, you connect to. And if they had Jokic, Michael Porter, Bol, Poku, you'd look at that team and just be like, wow, this is so weird. Like, we have the weirdest, cool team ever, and I dig that. So I think that's why I'm on the Poku bandwagon, as well as like just the idea of you play for upside, and even if it doesn't fit together, maybe you can make something of it. Although the Nuggets haven't exactly done a good job of like trading away their assets that they polish. So I don't know.
I do like Precious too. I have to say, I after looking at Wind breakdown of Precious, I think I'm in on him also.
I mean, my issue is size. Like the two guys, I would like Maxey quite a lot based off the way he's described as a player. But with each level you go up, being 6'3" matters more and more, especially if you're not a lethal outside shooter. His handle's not great. Like I don't know how much he's going to be able to create for himself. And then same thing is Desmond Bane, who's bigger than Maxey, but not super long, and then also maybe kind of stuck in an almost tweener spot, kind of combo guard forward. But I think that dude's a winner. I think he's got an NBA skill set. I'd be very, very interested in him if he somehow fell to 22. Brian said he'd be surprised if he got past Dallas. I'd be surprised if he gets past Miami. I feel like that'd be a great Eric Spoelstra player. Either way, he intrigues me a little.
Yeah.
Bane and Precious to me. I mean, there are guys that I think if they got him, I'd be intrigued by. But I just think all of these guys are going to be such a long-term play that there might be a little bit of Keita Bates-Diop syndrome to him, where it's like you get him. And remember when we got Keita, it was like, okay, is he something? Is he nothing? And we never saw him. And when we did, he looked bad. That now we're all like out on him. And I wonder if like a player like Bane would show up and we would judge him based on the like, is he going to give us anything right now? No. Okay, well then what am I sitting here holding out my breath for? Whereas with Poku, we know we're not going to see anything from him for a year, so like that expectation is kind of built in a weird way. Again, this isn't a good reasoning; it's just what I think will happen.
I just think there's no way Poku's going to fall to us.
I feel like
he could.
I do.
I think he could because the thing about Poku is he's so intriguing, but he's also risky. Yeah. Like I could see a scenario where he's maybe next year he has like a bowl type season where he doesn't really play, but he's in the G League. But I mean, long term, Poku like might not be an NBA player. Like he could be out of the league. I feel like in 3-4 years. So that's the risk with him. I looked at a guy yesterday, Aaron Nee Smith, who's probably not going to be available at 22, but he did have an injury. He had a stress fracture that ended his season last year. So I think there's maybe potential he falls a little because of that, but he's arguably the best shooter in the draft. Like he shot 50% from 3 last year on 8+ attempts per game, only over 14 games before that injury. But his shooting numbers are just absolutely insane. But he seems like he could make a Malik Beasley type impact, like as soon as next season. Like he's a plug and play guy who can give you energy, who can give you 3-point shooting, kind of in the same way that Beasley did when he was in Denver. So again, that's a guy that probably would have to fall a little for Denver to get him. But I mean, seems like he'd be an unbelievable shooter at the NBA level. And he's 6'6" with a 6'11" wingspan too,
which helps. One of the things that's tough about this exercise, in these profiles we're analyzing, evaluating the fit in Denver. But these are guys that like probably aren't playing for 2-3 years. At which point, how do they fit around Monte, Gary, Will, guys that might not even be here? So it's very, very hard to sort of figure out right now. I just don't think anyone they take at 22 we're going to see them making an impact next season. I lean towards either trading or something like Poku, which is closer to a draft and stash, even though that's not what you'd be doing with him. Just someone you can kind of sit on. It just makes more sense to me.
Yeah. A guy I'll be looking at, I believe, for tomorrow's profile, a bit of a sleeper, somebody who's probably going to get taken after 22 is Robert Woodard of Texas A&M. And not a lot of people seem to know too much about him, but he's a 6'7" wing with a 7'1" wingspan. Seems like he's going to be a guy who can definitely defend Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James. His shot looks like it has potential. Wasn't really a high usage guy at Mississippi State is where he went to college. But I think he's an intriguing kind of 3-and-D role player who's probably going to go like very end of the first, beginning of the second round. And he's definitely going to be able to play defense. Definitely.
Another name to watch that I think is in the project sort of category here, as Brody Rickles points out, Jade Mcdaniels, about 6'10", projected at, or sort of described as an on-ball scorer, very hyped prospect coming out of high school, didn't play well in college. So, the last 2 drafts, there's been that kind of risky flyer on the uber talented guy that dropped, if Denver was going to sort of stick into that theme, you could definitely look at Jade McDaniels as a guy that could or should even still be around at 22.
I mean, yeah, I don't think it's going to be that exciting of a draft. I do think the Nuggets fans will be most excited if they somehow get Poku. Don't know that means it's a great thing or a bad thing, but I think it's the thing that's very clear at this moment Nuggets fans would be the most collectively excited about. And by the way, can we send, if Bol Bol's not up with the big leagues, does he go back down to the G League? Do we send Poku and Bol Bol to the same G League team? And I mean, I'm watching 100%
to
of those
Chicago
minutes.
for like a couple weeks span if they go to Windy City Bulls.
Windy City Bulls.
Might be
Windy
more
City
fun than
Bulls.
the Nuggets would be the Poku Bowl Windy City Bulls. Be very into that.
Yeah. Josh Green, one of our commenters, brought him up.
Yeah, I'm interested. He's on my list.
He could be your Gary Harris replacement in a couple years. 6'6" with a nice wingspan.
Yeah.
He looks like a football player. Like, he's huge. Like, just his build is really big. And it seems like he'll have a decent 3-point shot. So he could be an intriguing guy to guard of the future, potentially.
I mean, I don't mind the idea of, like, taking flyers on guys that can just defend, and they don't have to crack the rotation anytime soon. But maybe, like, keep the pipeline moving as guys like Torrey Craig, maybe Gary, or even PJ move on.
That's why Woodard is kind of interesting for me, because he can be at least, give you what Torrey Craig has given you over the last couple of years. Like, at a bare minimum, he might be able to give you that. Again, not the upside or the excitement level of a Poku. Not even close.
It's kind of a difficult question to answer, but I think there's an interesting conversation to be had. Like, how important does this draft seem to you guys this year? Like, does winning or losing this draft sort of alter Denver sort of trajectory right now as an organization, one way or another?
The thing about Denver is, like, they're all about just restocking the cupboard. They just have, like, this assembly line, this factory line of, like, interesting players that are coming down the pike. And so for this next year, absolutely not. But I just love the idea that Denver just, like, stays relevant for a very long time, because they just continue to draft well, and they just don't think about what they need right now. They just think about, like, what could they possibly need in the future.
I also wonder about losing the press conference but winning the draft in this year. And, like, if let's say they trade out of the first round this year, get 2 second-rounders next year, that's going to be one of those moves that people are like, oh, what a bummer, nothing this or that. But it might actually end up being the better thing. Like, the 35th pick next year might be better than the 22nd this year. And also, if you just don't have your guy, there's no sense in just using a pick because you have to use it. So Denver might have one of those years, this draft. I mean, maybe not. Who knows? But they might end up having one of these drafts where they don't win the press conference.
Yeah,
but
that could be a good route to go, because if you use number 22 and you miss, that can really hurt you. That's like way worse, obviously, than trading it for 2 second-rounders, because if you miss, you get a guy like Tyler Light, which hurts you.
Do you think organizations, not just the Nuggets, but organizations in general, are going to be less prone to getting draft day drunk? Because that's the whole thing, right? Where players, they get a little too excited. There's, like, an excitement in the room when you're like, here we go. And do you think maybe this year teams are more just like, I don't know, man. There's no temptation to really go all in for this thing that we don't really want? I kind of think there is. Yeah,
there's so many weird factors at play this year where teams are looking at what their salary cap situations are going to be like, the cap itself falling, like where they like how you're constructing your team probably changes a lot in a lot of people's eyes. Or they're thinking, like, maybe teams that were thinking about building by acquiring players are thinking, like, all right, we got to really think about getting our own guys and growing them and going. Just the financial uncertainty in the NBA is, like, the most interesting thing going forward. I think it's going to change everything. It's going to change everyone's perspective.
One thing to make you feel good, though, is that if you look at Tim Conley's record, he really only has 2 bad draft picks. I mean this. Like, there's other guys that haven't panned out, Radicevic or whatever, but he wasn't a bad pick. He was a second rounder. Yeah. But Moutier was a bad pick. Tyler Lydon was a bad pick. Every other pick that he has made has been positive value, meaning better than the spot they were. Even a Gary Harris, a Juancho Hernangomez, Malik, like, those guys were all better. Unless I'm forgetting somebody, but I don't think I am. They've all been better than what you expect. So the odds, you have to feel a little bit comfortable, I think, going into this draft thinking, okay, the odds are they're going to do the something better than expected.
And you know what? They won the press conference the last 2 drafts easily. You know, they came away with really flashy, exciting on 2 draft nights in a row where we all went in there anticipating nothing to happen. They walked away with the most exciting possible outcome. So I think it's okay. I think it's okay if they do something a little more safe and practical this time around. But
I think you're right.
I mean, his favorite move is trading back and getting 2 picks for 1.
Well, there will be more profiles coming from Win myself. We'll cover a wide range of guys here. You'll see some names that might not go to 22, might be drafted later, but
might get moved up though. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. We'll try to cover it all. We'll be back tomorrow, Casual Friday episode, DNBA, live at noon, YouTube, Periscope. Tell your friends, tell your parents, tell your grandparents.
Are we gonna look and see what's going on online these days?
We are going to look and see. Eric's already ready. I'm already bummed.
I use a lot of Eric's content though with these leaked jerseys.
I know. What is going on?
What else is going on online?
There's literally nothing else going on online these days, you guys.
We've got homework to do tonight, brother. The rest of you, we appreciate you. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Enjoy your Thursday. Peace.
Peace.